Hi, this is Phil Hartman with PH Fabrication and Horton Race Cars. Just wanted to give you guys a weekly shop update. Hope everyone's doing well. So you can see I got a few different projects in the shop right now. Now the land speed car is still in here and is making good progress on it and really coming together. And if you follow my videos, you've noticed that the 55 Chevy Gasser was in here earlier, probably about a month and a half ago. And then we've also had the RX-7 in here. So the RX-7 left last weekend. It was a great project and happy to have it back to the customer. I know he's excited to be able to start putting it together, and it was a nice project to get in and out. So the 55 Chevy Gasser, we actually rolled next door. We were waiting on a few parts. The parts came in, and mostly this week we've been working on getting the rear end along with the ladder bar set up, put together, and under the car. Now, Jeremy's done a great job getting that all together. He's got to come back on Monday and do a little finish up work on basically boxing some plates, and then the rear end can come back out, and we'll worry about the suspension and getting the shocks in place. But we'll go over that a little bit later in the video. Now, the land speed car, you can see, is definitely a lot of progress being made. The nose section's mounted, canopies on it, the the driver section is in place. And you can see the motor's in place. Now, normally I wouldn't put a motor in until we're basically ready to get it on the ground and back to the customer. But the customer's coming up tomorrow to kind of go over some wiring and kind of get a game plan put together for that. So we put the motor in place along with the water tank, transmission, exhaust, just to get an idea of where he can put stuff. Also gives us an idea. We have to add one more water tank into a place, and it gives us an idea of where to put that. So on the land speed car, you can see the nose section's mounted. Now that was mounted last week, and the belly pan is finished up on it. And actually the belly pan here, you can see the belly pan for the nose. We do have to do a little bit of sanding on it, just kind of file the edges, make sure everything's corners are rounded and it looks nice and fits the way we are expecting it to fit. And then you can see this is another piece of the belly pan. Now this section will actually go where the air jacks are, and this allows the air jacks to go up and down, along with being able to take the big belly pan section down and leave that up without interfering with the air jacks. Now you can see the driver's section of the body is fully mounted. Everything is Zeus fastened together, so it makes it really easy to take the body off. Now the only problem with taking the driver section off is you're gonna have to deal with the canopy. The canopy is hinged to the actual chassis and not to the body. And you can see we have a gas shock, and we had to remount the gas shock to make it work the way we wanted to. So originally, when we made the hinge and the mechanism for this canopy, we had the gas shock mounted underneath the body here. It was a really clean setup, looked great, worked great, but when we would shut the canopy, it would actually shove this section of the canopy up and create a gap where wind could get under and salt could get to the driver. So we didn't really like that design, and we came up with this design where when you shut the canopy, the gas shock goes over center. So right here we're basically closed, but the canopy's still open, and the gas shock is over center, and when you go all the way down, it actually puts pressure on the whole canopy. Now, putting pressure on the whole canopy keeps this nice and flush, keeps the canopy down tight. Now, we could probably get away without using any latch because, I mean, it is pretty solid, but we are going to put a latch on it. That is another thing I'm going to go over with the customer tomorrow to see if we want some quick latches in the windshield or just a slide latch. So there's different options here. A few other things we're going to do to this canopy is put a pin, kind of a pin receiver on each side, and this will stop the canopy from wanting to spread when it sees wind or a large downforce, and really kind of keeps it secured to the body. I'm really happy with how the canopy all turned out. A lot of people don't realize how much work goes into building the framework, the hinge, along with getting the windshield to fit. Now that windshield came out of a experimental aircraft. So it wasn't just something we could buy, and everything had to be custom fitted or made to fit that windshield, also fit in the body. The framework for the canopy was all built in-house and is all made out of 3003 aluminum, 60 thousandths or 063, and really came together nicely. So you can see the flanges for the body mount and the Zeus's are all back here. Now we'll get a kind of an idea of the inside of the cockpit. I don't know if I've explained a whole lot about this. So up top we have our computer tray, and then underneath here we're kind of doing a few things a little bit different. A lot of the land speed cars, now you can see some panels under there. Now that's not the panels for the from the bottom of the computer tray. That's actually panels that we put under there, and we're going to have ISP fill those full of foam, the same kind of foam that you'd use for your head pads. We're also going to have our side panels here covered with foam. Now this is just a safety feature, so if the driver ever got into an accident, his legs are flopping around in the cockpit, and instead of beating your legs up into the aluminum, which is going to eventually beat into the bars of the chassis, you put foam in there. Now that foam will absorb any energy and protect the driver's legs, and really kind of almost filling the whole cockpit full of foam just to give the driver padding in case of an accident. Now you can see we got the motor completely installed, and it really it's got a pretty tight fit in there, but everything came together nicely. You can see the intake tubing there. You got the exhaust, stainless steel exhaust, 4-inch, all V-band clamped together. You can also see the spine down the middle of the car. Now we're going to split the body down the middle, and one part of the body will have a flange, aluminum flange, which I have built already. The other part will just be fiberglass, and they'll Zeus together in the center. We'll also have a Zeus's down the side plates and along the bottom of the frame. Now we're also going to have a belly pan completely underneath, and that will all be Zeused to the motor plate. Now I am going to give a shout out here to Taylor Motorsports and Dennis Taylor and the crew that he's got working for him. So we had to order a custom diaper for this diesel, and they nailed it. I mean, everything fit perfectly like it was supposed to. We'll come around to the other side and might be able to see it a little bit better. But if you need anything for safety wise, I highly recommend Dennis Taylor and Taylor Motorsports Group. They will build you basically anything you need for custom diapers, for transmissions, motors. They'll do seat belts. But they are a great company to work with, so definitely check them out. The other company I'm going to name drop is Simpson Safety. Now hit up Alan Bridges and for your helmets and your seat belts. He's definitely helped us out with the seat belts for this car, and I know he's also helped us out with the fresh air bottle that's underneath the nose. So need to tell him thank you for definitely putting that all together for us. So you can see the land speed car is really coming together nicely. One more thing I do want to go over a little bit is, so back here we got the wheel tubs, and you can see we have pieces of plastic that are going to be screwed to the tubs. Now those pieces of plastic actually seal closer to the tire and keep air out of the wheel wells. We will have that done on both sides in the back and also up front to really seal up the tire opening. And the reason we use plastic, now plastic and aluminum are pretty much the same, but hopefully if that piece ever got wedged or to the tire, hopefully the plastic would break off before aluminum would. Well, that was enough on the land speed car. We'll go over here on the 55 Chevy Gasser. Now this Gasser is a really, really cool car. Definitely enjoying the progress and seeing the progress that we're making on it. So Jeremy's been doing a great job at getting the rear end in place. Now he's pretty new to some of this stuff, but definitely catching on fast when it comes to race car and street rod fabrication. So you can see we got our ladder bar set up. The rear end housing is in. Now we tacked the rear end housing just to the frame to give us our ride height. And we also put in a drive shaft loop, which let me see if I can see if we can see this. So you got the drive shaft loop and a crossbar, and then you got our ladder bar set up. Now this ladder bar setup isn't finished yet. We still have the box up here to give it some more support. We're also going to put a basically a rod end setup where a turnbuckle where you can turn the turnbuckles. One, that changes your pinion angle, and two, you can also put preload on one side or the other, and it's kind of a neat setup. We've been doing this to a lot of gassers out there, and it's really worked out nice. Now we are going to set this thing up with a set of Strange Engineering double adjustable coilover shocks, and looking forward to getting those under. But definitely looking forward to getting this car back on the ground and back to the customer. Well, that is all for this video. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you all next week. Thank you. Bye.